Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Got my legs crossed, sitting in a red chair.
New studio flow, bitch.
Sitting in a red chair. It's called New Studio Flow. New Studio Flow. God, dude.
Is there a better dance song than that?
Dude, that's how I work out every morning.
You dance like that?
I dance,
Dude,
and I
fuck
keep
your
my-
morning. Hey, fuck your morning.
What?
I'm just glad to be in our new studio.
We're in a
man.
new studio
Please
right now.
acknowledge that.
It's a new studio, and it's been
Can't make this
decorated.
about your bathroom.
No, you're right. It's in the process of being tricked out. And we've come pretty close here.
We got the meat. Well, yeah, don't say we.
And when
we
I
got
say
the
we-
meat, yeah, don't say we. We got the meat and potatoes done, though.
That's right.
Everything's basically done. And then what we want to do with the walls is get pretty artsy. If there's any like dope graffiti artists that are good with like big murals,
Yeah.
hit us up, DM me on Instagram or Twitter, because we're looking for someone to paint the walls, like a Venice theme on this side and Abbott Kinney theme on the other side.
I like it.
It could be really, really cool.
And it's important to mention that we have we've kind of diversified a little bit. Our look is diversified. Fighter and Kid look. Unfortunately,
We're a melting pot now.
Well, we miss Evan the Beard. We miss Keely. They were amazing, but we have replaced them with.
We shed them like an old 1-2 snake
Yeah,
skin.
we miss them, but and all due
We
respect,
love
we'll
them.
bring them back to say goodbye and all that. But here's the thing.
Well, not really.
Well, we got Chin, who is Korean American, and we have a young
Well, let them
lady.
introduce themselves.
Well, I mean, let me do the intro first. We have a young lady from Eritrea, which is sort of a very small sliver of East Africa, and I believe it borders Ethiopia, and it had a very bitter civil war with Ethiopia to win its independence.
And that's good for you to know right now during this intro.
And it's important to know that also the Eritreans and the Ethiopians are both famed.
bro!
The women are famed
It's
for their
about
beauty.
them!
I know. They're famed for their beauty. And so what I wanted to do is introduce the fact that we have a true African American, an Eritrean American, and a Korean American. So if you guys think that we're not super, super diverse, then check yourself.
Now, we got literally 1 jagillion resumes and offers for producers who are like, dude, I'm your next young Jamie. And I was going through all, I'm like, God, how the hell am I going to decide, man? I'm just scrolling through I'm reading through all these resumes, and I'm stressed out, and I'm having Jamie, Rogan's producer, help me, and we're trying to filter it all out. Jay Schaub's helping me. I'm like, dude, I don't know how we're going to decide. There's so many good ones. And then I'm doing a set at the Laugh Factory, and I'm taking pictures afterwards with fans, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And this large Korean man, who's very well dressed, comes up to me and goes, oh, what's up, man? Let's get a picture. He goes, no, I don't want a picture. I'm your guy. I'm like, excuse me? He goes, here, and takes his like necklace off with a little USB on it and goes, watch this. I'm the best there is. I'm your guy. And I was like, yeah, you are. Yeah, you are.
You got the job.
I did the exact same thing to get a job. I'm like, well, that's the kind of initiative you want from somebody. You know what I'm saying?
shows
Like,
up at your
that's
show.
the employee that you want. So I went home, and, obviously you have to watch the video. Like, you can't be some bullshit. But I was like, God, dude, that's ballsy, man. If he's going to go all this way just to do that, that's kind of someone who you want on your team. So I went home, I watched this, and my brother's like, that's your guy. I'm like, yeah, no shit, man.
Right.
So I think the next day I DM'd you. I was like, yo, you got the gig, man. Let's ride. And then Fox was like, cool, get the hell out of our office. I was like, all right, now, Chin, I know you're a computer guy. I'm going to need you to help me put the studio together. So me and Chin have been working just like a couple 1-2 El Mexicanos on this studio.
Yeah.
Just working all hours of the night.
You are Spanish, so the thing is that you're
works.
Mexican. He's Korean.
And then
she's Eritrean.
with the intern,
Arsema,
I call
Arsema
her,
Bure.
her name's Agent A.
Yeah,
Agent A or A.
Because you'll forget Arsema every time.
But the nicknames are cool.
Yeah.
Agent A's dope. We can do shirts with Agent A. You do all sorts of stuff with Chen.
So you can't sell Arsema Bure.
That's gonna be a tough sell.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a
Arsema
tough sell.
Bure. I'm saying
In
it
this
correctly,
Trump
though.
world, that's a tough sell.
I know.
Anyways, but with the interns, we had and Keely helped me out with this process. We probably interviewed 30 people, and I met you at Intelligentsia, and I was like, well, you're into, she's into fashion. She just moved here from San Francisco. It works with her freaking schedule.
Cosmopolitan young lady.
Yeah, it's been good, man. So, boom, there's the new squad. The new squad, man. It's been quite the process.
Why don't you guys say hi into the mic so we get a sense of your voices? Chin?
I should probably go first because the mic's right next to me.
That's
but
true.
Hi,
You go first.
I'm Chin, and I can't tell you how much I thank you guys for giving me this opportunity.
Oh, please.
Honestly,
We're happy.
I was scared as hell going up to Brennan and asking him that stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's a
but
big
I was
boy.
like, I have to do it. I'm not even kidding. He killed his set. The place was packed.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as he walked off the stage, I'm sure everyone wanted to talk to him, but I just went through the crowd, pushing my way through, and finally got to him.
Use your size.
I was like, God,
hockey checking
that's a
people.
large Korean fella.
Yeah, it's a large Korean man.
I was like, oh my God, does he want to fight?
Little Birdie told me you did pretty well at the Comedy Store last night. Little Birdie told me.
Not bad. Let's get to her. Then we'll get to that. Agent A.
Arsema Bore.
Agent A in the house.
Hey guys, it's Arsema. I was actually really nervous going in, but apparently you didn't see that. And after meeting you and saying hi, all my nerves went away, and it was just like talking to a friend, and it wasn't that nerve-wracking. And it wasn't professional in a good way, as in a sense you weren't really intimidating or anything. And so it felt like doing the interview was a lot better.
Yeah, it's just conversation, because the thing is, like, Keely and I, we still text all the time. Like, if with this gig, like, you know, we become friends, and you got to know the vibe of the show and stuff like that. So, I mean, you can't have a regular job interview. But, I mean, we met some people, they were so nervous. I was like, dude, relax, man. Like, we met one guy, I'm like, dude, just relax. Like, it's not that serious, man.
Yeah.
Like, just chill.
This is a
But you were just, you know, like, down to earth, get shit together, you know, social media. Obviously going to take a while to get going and kind of get familiar with everything, but welcome to the squad. Boom. Intelligentsia is where I conducted the interviews.
And here we are.
Here we are, man.
Here we are in our studio with some wood behind us.
Now, hey, let me ask you this. What happens if you had to hire everyone and do the studio? What would have happened?
I would have hired,
the show would have
gone right to my
crumbled?
friends. I would have hired some friends, and the show would have...
You'd have had Stevie Blue Eyes.
The show
you would
would
have
have
had your
fizzled.
friend Karen as the producer,
Yep.
and just complete bullshit.
show would have fizzled.
You'd done it out of your garage.
Yep. But what's going on with this computer? I was like, let's use the Zoom. We'll put it up. It would have been a bad situation.
What's going on, brother? Good to see you, man.
It's good to
you
see
missed
you.
a good one last night, Comedy Store.
You know, it was my wife's B-day.
You know what?
Couldn't
You
break
get a
away.
pass. You get a
I get
pass.
a pass on that.
You get a big
I couldn't be
pass.
like, hey, happy birthday. Gotta
See
go
ya.
my boy. And you know I wanted to.
I know.
You know, I wanted to
Dude,
see
it
you.
was such a good vibe. Everybody was there. I got done, and Tony
damn
Hinchcliffe, and
was so jealous.
and
Rogan was there.
Kersher, Rogan, Dalia,
Dalia was
and we're
there.
just all hanging in the back.
How great is that?
Oh, it was the best, man. Just chatting
so I
it
guess,
up.
guess you're a comic now, huh?
I
Don't really know how I feel about that. Something in the way you talk now makes me angry. No, I'm excited.
Yeah, man, I had to cut that umbilical cord and flap my wings.
You sure did, by the way.
Oh, not only from you, but Fox as well. And this bird is a flapping.
He's flying solo now. You know, I have to say, this is going to be a little off topic, but thinking about doing things that are new, like, you know, we always talk about doing new stuff, and it's good. It's good to do stuff that scares you and that's new, and you get this new surge of energy. And then sometimes there are familiar things. Now, I'm a real stickler for nutrition, as you know, real stickler for nutrition. And I had myself a ice cold Coca-Cola the other day.
Those are delicious.
Now, hold on.
Wait, with the Mexican cola?
Sure
with the
was.
actual cane sugar?
You are correct, sir. Out of a glass bottle.
Fuck
Now
you.
let me say
It
something.
doesn't get any more American than that.
It
besides-
was fucking delicious.
I know. There's
It
a
was-
reason why people are addicted to it.
Oh my God. It was fucking delicious.
It was it ice cold on a summer
It was ice
day?
cold, and I was like, listen, I'm thirsty. I'm gonna have a little sip of this Coke.
Where was this at?
This was it was at my house, actually. Why? Because my mother likes Coke.
Oh, you know,
comes
also
to
the
visit
older
me.
generation
That's
does.
right.
They're like, diet. Get
And
the fuck out
I
of here.
can't believe you said the Mexican Coke, because my mother goes and finds the cane sugar Coke. Okay?
It's a green label.
It's so interesting that you say that.
Oh, I know
it's so
my Coke,
fucking
son.
weird, because that's exactly what my mother, she's a stickler for that. And you're only the second person I've heard talk that way. Now, you know Coke.
I know my sodas. Or as we say in Denver, pop.
And so I'm sitting there, and I go, I'm gonna take a little sip. No, it was ice cold. I'm gonna take a little sip. And I went, what? And I'll wax poetic on how bad Coke is. I'll be like, look, there are a couple things that are bad for you. One, great white sharks when you're in the water and there's blood there. Two, probably Mexican cartels. Don't want to mess around with them. Don't work for them because it doesn't work out. 3, Coca-Cola.
Coke could do it.
Okay?
It's so good.
It was the best thing I've ever had in
so
my
much
life.
sugar though.
Yeah, but
it's so unhealthy.
best thing I've ever had in my life. Now, whatever it does to you, it's worth it. They say it like it.
You can put a nail in there and disintegrate
That's
the
what
nail.
they say. And guess what? Worth it.
Yeah, I don't care. I know some
Worth it.
people, like my uncle, you never see him without a giant big gulp of Coke in his hand. Healthy as shit, man.
Well, and here's the thing. There are certain things that are so American, and Coca-Cola is one of them. Now, right?
It goes hot dogs, Yankees baseball, and Coca-Cola.
Right. Now, and also they did this thing on how diet sodas like Diet Coke can actually help cause you to gain weight because it tricks your body.
Your body, because the artificial sweeteners, your body, they
Thinks
can't
it's
tell
like
the difference.
sugar.
So it's like, this is sweets.
Here's a bunch
here
of
we go.
insulin.
Here's
Yeah.
insulin, yes.
Okay. So, and I was thinking about that. It's so delicious. And even though it's bad for you, and maybe people, they're trying to do a soda tax. If you said no more Coca-Cola in America,
I'd be bummed out.
I would too. I would, because there's a familiarity to it. That
Might as well take away yellow mustard.
Yeah, and human beings work that way. They did this thing with, check this out, chickens. Chickens, when they hear like a falcon or a bird of prey, they're like, holy shit! They have an instinct. Well, when they played like a falcon's call, a bird of prey's call to the eggs of a chicken, and they did the eggs, they're still in the egg. When they were chicks and they played the sound of the falcon, they gave fewer distress calls to their mother than the ones that hadn't heard it in the egg, which means as something becomes more familiar, it might be bad for you, but it still feels kind of good. And you know what?
Wait, so
maybe it's worth it. We're chickens.
Wait, we're chicks? Now we drink
I'm
Coke?
glad you...
That's a weird time,
Dude,
my brother.
Chickens.
That was a
And the Coke is the falcon.
That was a stretch.
And the Coke is the falcon. No,
Did you think I'm not on the way home here?
No, the point I'm making is that familiarity will breed sort of a comfort level for you. And Coca-Cola has been around with us for a long, long time, and I'm not ready to give it up, even though it might be bad for you.
But you gave it up a while ago. You're not a Coke drinker.
No.
You try it once in a blue. You can't say you're not ready to give it up. Like if it went away, you know what would happen in your life?
Absolutely nothing.
Hey, look at me. Need you to relax.
But isn't that weird though? That's why I still wouldn't want to let it go. There's certain things about America.
There's certain things like because we were used to going to Fox every day, same thing, seeing the employees, seeing everyone.
Yeah.
You get in a comfort zone, you get in a rhythm routine, and when you mess with that routine, you're like, it's everything's new.
And you and I,
like, it's gonna take a while for this to feel like normal.
But see, that's such a good point. Like, but think about it. Like, we were in a comfort zone, and human beings want to stay in a comfort zone. We break out. It was a scramble. There's all kinds of things going on. Like, just think about stand up. You're doing stand up. You're just getting up there. Whenever you do things that are uncomfortable, man, at first it's a motherfucker, but it always is worth it though.
I don't know if you can say it's always worth it.
No.
And maybe in our case, I can't say that it's always worth it.
What about for growth?
I don't know.
No?
I don't know. Because sometimes, like, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Huh. You can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, in our business, like, we knew to a T that if we left Fox, we have ideas of what we want to do and we want to grow. So it's really not that much. Like, I like that everyone follows us and they're dedicated and they're loyal, but we know that.
Right.
So it's not that big of a risk. The risk is setting up all this, getting a new producer, all that's new, and find this place.
Yeah.
But it's not that much of a risk. A risk would be just shutting the podcast down and going to different ventures.
Well, that would be stupid.
So, but sometimes people think everything's green on their side, or let's say you and I are like, dude, we're bigger than podcasts. We're just gonna shoot for a TV show. Stop doing the podcast.
No, that would be stupid. See,
like, it's not always greener on the other side. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Like, a lot of times,
I'm talking about growth. Like, so we're
you.
trying to grow this all the time. We're trying to grow as people. That's what I'm saying. As long as you're trying to grow the one thing, like, so you know a lot about strength and conditioning. Louis Simmons was talking about on Rogan's podcast. He's that strength. He gets people to be incredible. He has two of the strongest people in the world in his gym.
He's crazy.
He's crazy, but he does have two of the strongest humans, man and woman, in his gym, and he's had a great track record of it. And one of the things he always talks about is, and I'm sure you know this, when you're trying to get stronger and grow, you keep changing your routine up.
Well, your body gets used to it; just adapts to things.
Right. So you have to change your workup up out a lot, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Same. I guess that's what I'm saying. I guess when you change things up and you stay a little bit unstable and uncomfortable, it will lend itself to growth for the most part.
I think it depends what you're doing.
Yes, it does.
People that listen to this that have a great job, like, yeah, I've always wanted to play the flute. Fuck this
Don't do
job.
it. Don't do it. No. We're not saying fuck this job.
No.
No.
It's just, I hear you though.
If you want to get good at what you're trying to get good at, I want to keep growing this and keep doing this. It's not like I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is interesting.
Wow, that's a dynamic conversation. We touched on falcons, chickens, Coca-Cola.
Chickens drinking Coca-Cola.
Eritrea, Korea.
If I remember correctly.
Chickens and
Chickens
Coca-Cola.
drinking Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola's the falcon, dude.
That's what I took from that story.
Coke's the falcon.
Yeah, a little bit, huh?
Yeah. Coke's the falcon. Sitting with your legs
Yeah,
crossed.
you missed everyone last night, man. Justin was there. All the CA
whiz,
cats
man.
were there.
Seriously?
It was a big night.
I got to start coming out more. Guess what? I'm going to start
I don't
doing
think
the
you
comedy
need to
store
come
more.
out more.
No?
I feel like you're out every night.
No. Not really.
I mean, you're doing stand-up a lot. You're out all the
Well,
time.
I'm on the road. That's the
Yeah.
right. So I'm on the road.
You're out a
That
lot.
feels like I'm gone a lot.
I couldn't do like Comedy Store 3 nights a
Until
week.
you're doing an hour and 20 minutes on stage and watching it change and work.
Well,
You will
if I'm
be,
getting
and
ready
you
for
will
if
be.
I'm getting ready to shoot an hour special, that's
Yeah.
a different story.
And you'll love it.
Oh yeah.
Because what happens is you do an hour and then another hour right back to back. Then the next day you do the same thing. Then the next day. So you come out.
If I was getting
that
ready for
weekend,
something, that makes sense.
When you come out of the weekend and you've done 6, 7, 8 hours of comedy, that's how you start getting. You start growing.
For sure. Well, I'm not there yet. I think
You will be.
I think I'm growing right now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Easy.
You grow a lot.
Let's not have this fucking little baby bird turn into a rooster.
No, you
overnight.
grow a lot doing those gigs, those local
Oh,
gigs,
for
100%.
Sure. Yeah, at the
100%.
Comedy Store.
Yes.
Did you see the lineup?
You're
My God.
You're in some good company.
Yeah, man. It's dope.
Yeah. They've all been doing comedy for 15, 20, 25 years. And along comes Brendan. Excuse me. Hey, pal. Sorry, I got to step on. Hey, what the fuck? Hey, that's a big foot. My jeans, you're stepping on my leg. I love it.
Dude, we got a fight companion with Rogan on Saturday.
Yes, we do.
For the Ultimate Fighter finale.
Can't wait.
Demetrius Johnson, whoever won Tough. I don't watch him anymore. They might be getting rid of him.
There's some good fighters, but does this guy have a chance? Everybody has a chance, but
Yeah, don't ever ask that again. But he's a former. So the way Tough was set up, it's all world champions
yes.
from other organizations. So
Yep.
if he beat all these other world champions to get there, I'm assuming he's a badass.
yeah,
I would assume he's a badass.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I watched a lot of the beginning of this season's Tough, and some of those guys are just killers.
Well, they're all world
Killers.
champions.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
ridiculous.
It's a smart idea. It's gonna be interesting to see what they do with that Ultimate Fighter. I know they're cutting the budget, and we'll get into it in current events. But there's some interesting moves going on right now.
You
with
mean
UFC?
UFC?
Big time.
Huh.
Big time. Big time.
Are they trying to figure out a way to get out of the McGregor spell or expand from under that?
Get out.
No,
what
in
the
other
fuck
words,
you gonna do?
there's
He's your
one
biggest
player.
star.
There's one player.
What are you
right
gonna
now,
do?
right?
You
I don't know.
can't. It's not the WWE. You can't create greatness.
Well, you
have to show up in the ring and win and be a character. And there's nothing they can do with that.
Nothing.
Their thing is with a $4 billion company is they need to. There's going to be budget cuts. So it started first with the cuts of international teams, Canada, all over. They cut a bunch of employees, right? And then in-house with this kind of the deal that's going on with WME and all that, and with the TV rights being up at Fox, they're going to look to be on multiple platforms, same way NFL, MLB, NBA does. So they're not just with Fox. Within that, though, the budget cuts would come from inside. So the UFC always did in-house production, so they could control the way it looked, the way it felt, everything. With WME, they're not playing that game. So now whoever has the rights, they're going to use their production. Does that make sense? So if it's on Fox, ESPN, Viacom, it's no longer UFC's team.
They don't control it. So
They
in other
used
words,
to, but now they don't. Because now the UFC, like with Tough, anything, pay-per-views, they controlled every look, angle, lineup, everything. With this new deal, with WME, they're not doing it anymore because it's so expensive to have that in-house production. So they're trying to save money. And the other, I mean, this is all current. This is what else it's. And today there's going to be that new announcement about the Fighters Union with Tim Kennedy, Don Cerrone, Cain Velasquez, TJ Dillashaw, etc., and all those guys. And I think it's a union. I don't know exactly. I think it's a union.
it's going to be very interesting to see
It's going to be interesting to see what they do. But
what WME, what their reaction is, because it's personal. You're right. It's CAA.
well, those are all
versus
CAA
WME.
guys,
Oh, yeah.
representatives on there, and obviously WME, and they paid $4 billion and they're trying to budget cut, stuff like that. So it's a great time for CAA to do it. But this is what's interesting, and this is where a change could happen here. Just hear me out, follow this B, is WME, like Connor goes, wait, if you have Conan O'Brien, Ben Affleck, these guys fucking, they're owners. They're owners. And he goes, you have them own it, I want to own it. They're entertainers, I'm an entertainer, I want to own it. But you know how hard it is, and we're all entertainers. Fighters are entertainers, athlete entertainers.
Yes.
Comics, Conan O'Brien, Ben Affleck, everyone's in the same business. You know how hard it is to get here. You know how hard it is to get equal rights. You know how hard it is to get what you're paid for. You know how hard it is to show your worth, right? And to get to this level. Now, I'm not so sure that Ben Affleck, Conan O'Brien, name the other celebrities who are on board, Mark Wahlberg, blah, blah, blah. I'm not so sure if they realize the disadvantage that UFC entertainers / fighters are at, because they wouldn't jump on board that train. Being fellow entertainers, they would be like, hold up, they don't have any of these rights? We're like, no, man. Wait, hold on. We make this much money. They get paid that as just pure human beings who have gone through the struggle of being entertainers to that level. They could make a difference.
However, I wonder if they probably in the contract when they buy into the company, they have absolutely zero voting rights.
Why would you buy in a company like that, though?
To share in the profits. So it's be a little bit like owning stock in a company. When you own stock in a company,
yeah,
you
but if someone came to you and said, hey, man, we want you to own stock in this company, or we're launching a new movie production company, we're going to really take advantage of all the actors and comedians.
Yeah.
Would you sign up for it?
I would
to make a profit?
I would not. I would not.
How much money does Conan Bryan and Mark Wahlberg and the rest of these celebrities need?
I don't think
they're not aware of it, is what I'm telling you.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
They don't realize what's going on here.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, at their level, if you went, dude, they have no 401ks, they have no retirement plan. When they're gone, they get an email when they retire. They get an email.
Yeah.
This is what they're paid for. This is what we're bringing in. I would imagine
and if
those
you speak
guys
up,
who went through that level.
If you speak your mind, if you say something like, "I can't afford to fight like this,"
because I've been taking a minute.
They'll tell you to take a seat for 3 years, like Fabrizio Verdum. I mean,
no, he's not taking.
No, I know, but he loses. I think he's not able to do.
He's not allowed to do TV. He still fights in December.
I mean, yeah, but that's a big deal. Not allowed to do TV.
Yeah, for sure.
So
what I'm saying is, those entertainers, they don't know the business at all.
You're saying, as they learn the business, they're going
to be like, holy shit, and for them to be like, well, we're owners, dude. We can't. You guys got to treat them better. You have to. Because now it's owned, obviously by WME, IMG, and within those celebrities who are also co-owners. If someone could sit down with them and go, here's really what's happening. You can't have WME explain it to them. You need someone who's like, no. Have them talk to a fighter or something like that and go, dude, this is what you guys are a part of. They go, holy shit. Yeah, we need to change some stuff.
Right.
And I think a change could happen there. I really do.
Yeah.
I don't know with this current lineup, and don't get me wrong, I love Cain Velasquez, Donald Cerrone, TJ Dillashaw, the rest of those guys, Tim Kennedy. But if they let's say they went, we're not fighting till there's a union, I don't know if the UFC skips a beat.
In other words, the UFC might say, cool.
Yeah. Cool. We'll just keep doing our thing. Because none of those guys are a huge draw. Pay-per-view wise.
That's a hard truth. And you
need a guy like
we all like
you need a guy
we all like. I mean, certainly.
I love you don't even have to call them out. I love every one of those guys up there.
Yep.
But as far as if you look at the number, like pay-per-view, like what they're worth to the company, the UFC keeps on keeping on. You literally need a guy like Connor. He's the only one who can make a change. Unless the entire roster goes.
It would have to be the whole roster. I do think
it'd have to be the whole roster or a guy like Conor McGregor.
I hate to say it, but I do think that you are onto something as far as it's a big risk for these guys to take, even though there is strength in numbers. I think the UFC is one of those weird things where, you're not going
to see any favors done anymore for any of those guys you see up there.
It's a big risk. They're not
going to give him any more power. So TJ, you want the title shot? It's going to be tough, brother. Tim Kennedy, he's going to do his own thing. He's a guy up there who actually doesn't give a fuck what happens, and he's just doing what's right. But Cain and Cowboy, they're not going to do you any favors moving forward here, matchup wise.
It's a gutsy move.
I mean, it's
But
the right
they obviously
move.
feel
You
it's
have
the
to.
right move. They feel like they're like.
But
that-
also,
that the
all those
truth is
guys
on
are
their
older
side.
in their career.
Yeah.
All of them are.
Yeah.
So that's what you need.
Good.
So people establish names where
That's
they're
right.
like, I've done my work, man.
Setting an example, And by the way, they also are probably at a stage where they're like, what do I have to lose?
That's what I'm saying. They're older, established guys.
I've been. You can push a man to a point where a man goes, I don't feel like you're giving me the respect that I have earned, that I deserve. So fuck this.
I also think a lot of them are just like
And they're pioneers in this right now. These are pioneers in a way.
the first like big names like this. But
Yes.
even at these big names, the UFC keeps on keeping on.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? I don't think, and the only thing that's a little weird up there is that the CEO of Bellator, the ex-CEO of Bellator, he's the only one, if you talk to him, he's a little bit sleazy. So that's where they lose a little momentum there. They should have just left him out of this.
Is that the guy right there?
That's him, Bjorn.
Bjorn.
Yeah. Most guys you talk to aren't a huge fan of him. Now, if you had Scott Coker up there, now you got some momentum.
Right.
But
is he not involved in Bellator anymore?
no.
Okay.
No, that's why it says ex-Bellator CEO up there.
Yeah.
Because remember, Scott Coker, who's on the show, owns Bellator.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. That's I admire them and they're pioneers, and I hope that they have an impact on this because something has to give.
Yeah, the entire roster would have to do something to make a huge.
Maybe this is
change,
the
you have to.
beginning. Maybe
It's a step in the right direction.
You know better than anybody that the majority of fighters are not happy with things like the Reebok deal.
I would
Not
say
happy.
95%.
Right.
At least 95%.
So with that kind
there's
of
a couple dick writers who are like, no, it's actually good.
right, but with that kind of discontent and the humiliation, there's a form of humiliation that comes with not getting the fights that you have earned, not getting the money that you need and have earned, all that stuff. When you humiliate people or when you belittle men like that who put it all on the line, like Tim Kennedy. I mean, come on, TJ, these guys, Donald, they've given everything. Kane, it's like look at how GSP was treated in a way. Makes life. He's wealthy and stuff, but I think that this is what happens when you give people no choice. You corner them. So hopefully other people join on.
Yeah, the bummer to me is, and it's just a reality, is even if all those guys said I'm not fighting again, the UFC really doesn't hit any hiccups.
Well, let me ask you this. First of all, we know that they are CAA clients. CAAs, they've got some, I don't know if you know this, they got some heavy hitter lawyers. Guys have been around the block a couple times, so they're well represented. With their contracts as they are, and I'm sure they all have different contracts, there is leveraging power in that they can't just be fired, right? They can't just be kicked to the side. Their contracts have to be honored.
No, I don't know exactly how the new contracts are, but I mean, the UFC can choose to sit them for a while. There's stipulation in the contract where if the UFC doesn't give you a fight by this time, then I think either you can have the option to opt out. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But dude, the reason why the UFC is so good is they have the best lawyers on the planet. That's why the contracts they're tough to get out.
They're airtight.
It'd be tough. Yeah, none of those guys are like all going to Bellator or something like that. That would never happen.
It's never happened.
No, that's not happening.
I feel like
what they can do is just oh cool, you guys want to do that? Here, TJ, you're on the prelims. Kane, here you go. You'll be the first fight. Let's try and find the worst matchup for you. Cowboy, yeah, you're no longer on the countdown, so we're not showing you on social media. They'll put no marketing behind them anymore.
Why is GSP doing this, do you think? I don't think he's going to fight again, right? Is he doing this out of conscience, do you think, or just sort of...
I think he's doing it because he's like the goddamn... I mean, he's one of the biggest named celebrity fighters of all time, one of the most successful of all time.
Right, but what's in it for him since he's not fighting anymore? Do you think he's doing it because it's the right thing to do and wants to spearhead this?
Yeah, I just think he was a guy who definitely got kind of taken advantage of and didn't get, the right representation. So he wants to see change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Could be.
Hopefully.
It's going to be interesting, man.
Wow.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I think they make the announcement. Does it say, Chin? Does it say, is it today at 12?
4 p.m.
Oh, 4 p.m. our time?
Yep.
So,
I don't know if it's our time.
Oh, okay.
4 p.m.
So by the time that comes out, I mean, obviously we won't know, but I'm sure we'll have some thoughts.
There is another theory that this guy Bjorn wants to start his own fight league. Maybe he's spearheading this and trying to break all these guys off to create his own fight league.
It's out of his
These
element.
guys.
He's not powerful enough to do that. No. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, he's an owner of the UFC, and he's all about getting the Russians into MMA, and that really didn't work for Bellator. But I mean, I'm sure he wants to do his own thing. But
Yeah.
none of those guys would follow him. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you'd go to Bellator, an established
go-
league.
yeah.
You're not going to do some new league Bjorn's running.
Mm-hmm.
No one's that stupid.
Yeah.
Those guys aren't, especially. And neither CAA.
Right.
Yeah, they're not, hey, let's follow this guy who failed here and go and leave the UFC to do it, you know?
It'd be interesting to see what would happen if the UFC released all those guys from their contract.
They would never do it.
They would never do it because they
They'll
go
make
right
your
to
life
They
miserable.
go right to
They'll make your life miserable. No, why would they do that?
Yeah.
That's what you want. It'd help you.
unless they were forced to, based on some.
The UFC?
Yeah.
It would happen a long time ago, brother.
Yeah.
And again, I keep emphasizing this. They have the best lawyers in the world.
Right.
That's why you can't get out of the contracts. Most fighters say that too, and agents are like, yeah, the reason why the UFC is so big, they have the best. Those contracts are bulletproof. They know what they're doing. You don't get to sell a company for $4 billion because you have
billion.
shitty lawyers and contracts.
Right.
Yeah. No, give them credit where credit's due. They're monsters.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a reason. The other news with these, and we'll just, you don't have to include these in current events anymore, Jim, but the other news is, with having these, the in-house production gone with budget cuts and you're having whatever networks you sell the UFC rights to, the rumor is, and it's kind of all over lately, is they would like to get rid of, and this is WME, IMG, they would like to get rid of the hype men, our boy Joe Rogan and Goldberg.
They would like to get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
They would like to get rid of those guys.
That's the rumor.
Huh.
Have you seen that, Chen? It's all
because
over.
Joe Rogan does such a bad job, or because he doesn't have a following, or
I know, right? I
What?
think maybe because he's he's like us. He's a
A
zebra
little loose cannon, not a company man.
Yeah, maybe.
Well-
And he's also doing less shows, so maybe,
Yeah.
and his contract, he's only signed a year deal, so maybe they're like, all right, after this year, man, we're just going to go a different direction.
Cut to me a year from now. All right, guys, Bryan Callen here,
You slide on it.
just sliding
Isn't
on
that
in.
interesting? But for them, it's
Wow.
like a turn of changing
Changing the
of
guard,
leagues, right?
Changing
Like they're
the
just
guard.
like, yeah, we know you guys are used to this. We're the new owners.
Changing the new guard.
here-
that
here's
makes
what we do.
sense because Ari Emanuel's probably got an ego on him and has had a lot
So
of
wouldn't you want to
success.
get rid of Dana too? I don't think you can contractually.
Yeah.
right now. But wouldn't you be like, speaking of changing the guard, hey, look at me, you're fired.
Yeah,
You know?
I don't know, man.
Because he's just going to run it the same way.
Yeah, but then what happens is it becomes so corporate and faceless.
That's
Is
what's
that a
gonna
good
happen.
thing or a bad thing?
Well, that's the
don't know.
direction they're headed.
Yeah,
But it's good. It's going to be ran like the NFL, NBA.
yeah.
Which,
But
when
but
you scratch
not
your beard, we can hear it.
but not really that way, right? Because the NBA and the NFL have separate owners. They all have different owners, right? Different management. Whereas this is one big management. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't feel like there'll be the diversity.
But there's still a league.
I guess the NFL
The
has
league.
very clear-cut rules,
Yes.
all that stuff.
And
Okay.
there's a union and stuff like that.
You work for the NFL.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah, everyone works for the NFL. Everyone
Right.
works for the NBA. Yeah, there's branches off. Like every fighter's his own owner of a team. You own Team Don Cerrone, you own Team Cain Velasquez.
Right.
It's very similar.
Okay.
So it's going to get pretty corporate, but I just, if you want to do the kind of, if you want to have the Joe Buck of the UFC and
Yeah.
and no disrespect to the guys they're using now though, but they're tough to listen to, man.
Who?
Follow me, brother. You're reading.
Yeah.
All the other announcers
You mean compared to Rogan and Goldberg?
compared to Rogan.
Yeah. I think Goldberg's great. Personally, I think Mike Goldberg's amazing. I love his.
Goldie and Rogan are perfect together.
Yeah,
if you take Rogan out of the equation and you just insert another guy with Goldberg, it's gonna be a tough sell. I love Goldberg, but him.
They make a great team.
You look at Ren and Stimpy. Yeah, they're great
Yeah,
together.
great
You take out Ren, don't give me Stimpy. Like you gotta get rid of both.
Chemistry, yeah.
Yeah, you can't get rid of just one.
Right.
Yeah,
about
UFC
this-
willing to remove Goldberg.
Rogan looks like a mannequin in that
hype
picture.
master. He looks like one of those clay figures from Madam. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's the only time he's ever made that ridiculous face. He looks like
He looks
he's
pretty
like,
crunk.
huh? Never seen him make that face. I've known him for
He
21
looks happy
years.
as shit.
Yeah.
Last night, me and him were hanging out outside the comedy store, and he's like, "Oh, meet my friend. Who's the guy? Not Bear Grylls. Who's the other guy?
Oh,
You know what I'm talking
about? Not Bear Grylls.
Yes.
Who?
Les Stroud. Survivor
Oh,
Man.
yeah.
He's the guy who sets up his own cameras.
Sure does.
Walks down, does a shot, walks back, grabs the camera.
Yep.
He was there, and he was talking about how he was in Mongolia, and he got in a car accident or fell out of a car, and like all his ribs were broken. He was in the hospital, and Steven Seagal, for whatever reason, was born the same flight as him and giving him advice on not to fly and all this other stuff. And he looked, it was like, what the fuck is going on
Wait,
right now?
Steven Seagal was giving him advice on because of a blood clot or something?
Well, he didn't have any blood clots.
But it was risky.
Yeah. He was
That's
like, give him all
hilarious.
this information.
It's hilarious.
But at first, Rogan's like, "Oh, meet my boy. This is Les Stroud, blah, blah." And I'm like, "Oh, cool, man. You know, well-dressed dude." I'm like, he's talking about Mongolia and stuff. I'm like, where the fuck do I know this guy? You know when you see someone on TV, but you feel like,
Yes.
and it's not registered. I'm like, how do I know him? And then he walks away to go to the bathroom. I'm like, dude, how do I know that guy? And Rogan's like, haven't you ever seen Survivor Man? I'm like, oh, that's homeboy that grabs the cameras and does all his own shit. He goes, yeah. So that's who Bear Grylls wishes he was. He goes, exactly. Because he came out that Bear was.
He had craft services apparently. Like
They said he would like do a scene and then like helicopter
Stay in a
out to the
hotel.
Four Seasons. or they said like the production staff team would have like candy bars and stuff.
That's great.
You just put that to the logo, Jen. Yeah. Otherwise, Brian's gonna be reading them.
I still thought that Bear Grylls did some crazy shit. Like when he jumped in that water.
Hey, let's be honest. He's so much more entertaining. He just has a personality.
Well, he
too.
sleeps in camels. He does some really cool shit. He was an SAS guy. He was like the elite paratrooper. He's the real deal.
He's the real
I
deal.
know he probably, some of it was for TV.
I don't give a shit.
I don't either.
Did you ever see him when he's through the desert and he grabs the camel shit?
Yes.
And squeezes
the water
liquid
out.
and drinks it?
Yes.
Or he's like,
God, that's disgusting.
crawls inside to sleep in a dead camel.
That's what I mean.
Sun's too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's doing some gnarly
That's some shit. He was in the Arctic swimming in that water.
He might shoot that and then grab a Snickers bar.
Yeah.
Or wash it down with a little coconut water.
And I don't care.
Me neither.
And I don't care because it's. I want to watch TV. If you had to be a little dramatic, that's 100% okay.
Survivor
with me.
Man's a little too real for me. Like, there's nothing set up. So if you ever saw him that time in the desert, he's like, I'm here for 6 days, surviving on nothing. I'm like, all right, cool. But he'll walk up, set the cameras, walk down to get the shot, walk back up, and now it's him, and he set up, just the super old school Boy Scout Eagle Cub fucking setup to catch I think it was a lizard, like the rock falls on it.
Yeah.
Well, that was the entire show. I mean, you know how hard that is?
It takes a long time.
I mean, and I appreciate the hustle and how hard it is, but I was like...
Yeah. Sam
and then the rock goes, yeah!
Sam,
and then he's eating it, and you're like, all right, well, I saw Bear Grylls like fucking kill an anaconda. There's a good chance that it was probably staged, but I'd rather watch
Let's
that.
go ahead and get the camera set up. I want 4 cameras. I want a high-powered rifle.
And then go ahead and just inject that giant anaconda with a little NyQuil, and then I'll just creep on like I'm seeing them and then choke them out.
100% okay with that.
I would rather have that.
I want to see a giant moose leg being roasted on a fire. I don't care if we had to see a guy.
And he got it ruined him kind of.
It kind of did.
Everyone was all up in arms.
Maybe
like,
it's because he was
that.
suggesting that it wasn't that way, and then they found out it was.
Well, you can't have that. If he came in and was like, we staged a poisonous frog, like, it's TV. Listen, it's entertainment.
Sam Sheridan, who for his book went and lived in the Amazon for, I think it was 3 weeks. He said, dude, I was so hungry. They were so hungry, and he was trying to live and he was living with that. They were like the guides who were the natives of that part of the world.
They're eating like berries and
dude,
insects
he
and shit.
lost some crazy amount of weight. He said, you get so hungry. We finally caught a forest chicken. Like a forest chicken, because the guy set some elaborate trap. No meat on it at all. It's this fucking stringy bird. You're like, I'll get
bird starving.
It may as well be. You know what? Hey, you're starving, haven't eaten in 3 days. Here, a couple chicken wings. There you go. That'll keep you. He was like, I was even more hungry after I ate a couple of. He had split it in front of with 7 people
for sure, man.
Like a little fucking forest chicken. This ain't a fat plump chicken.
I don't want to do it for 21 days, but I still would like you and I to do Naked and Afraid. Like legit, do it.
I just would have to. The problem is at night it gets so cold. I'd have to be all cuddled up on you.
It depends where you are, though.
Hey, I don't know how to build a fire, bro.
Well, but if they were like, all right, in 6 months you guys would be naked and afraid, I would have like a survivalist. I'd have Tim Kennedy with us like every day teaching us how to survive shit.
Yeah.
Like we could hire people to teach us stuff.
What you're allowed a machete, and a
Oh no, it's up. You
fire starter.
you get to bring one thing. I get to bring one thing.
Okay.
Fire starter for sure, right?
Yeah.
But when we've been over this, but fuck cold at night. That's whatever. That would suck. It's the bugs. Like if they were like, all right, cool. You guys are in. Here's the Amazon.
No.
And it's hot as
Can't do it.
shit.
You can't.
And there's bugs.
Mosquitoes. You can't do it. Certain areas you can't do it. You would die.
Well, no, they do it, and people don't. No one's died ever.
Well,
Because if you get close to death, they're like, all right, you can't go on anymore.
Right.
You're literally gonna die.
You got to find water-based operations. Let's go find water. So this is the first thing we do. You panic. Already you're like, oh, yeah, my shoes, where are they?
God, you know you know how bad you would do?
Are you out of
Growing
your
up
mind?
a rich white kid,
Excuse
and you
me?
and I are in the desert.
Dude, first of all, I grew up overseas.
Overseas in
Yeah.
4 seasons.
Did I have servants? Obviously. But listen,
How dare you? I grew up overseas.
Dude.
That means nothing.
did I grow up with a chauffeur and a cook? Yes. Now let me finish.
It was still overseas,
It was
sir.
still overseas.
Was
Did
I
I-
a third world country? Yes.
Did I go to boarding school? Yes. In college, when I needed money, did I call my dad's secretary? Yes. But dude, let me just. Have I flown first class more than coach? Yes. But listen to me.
My favorite is
have reserves.
You go
dude.
check out the pictures. The picture of you and your sister. You're maybe 16, young.
I was
Bryan Campbell.
16, 17.
16. You and your sister toasting on a private jet.
On a private corporate jet, and that was Dom Perignon. All right.
You guys looked so happy. I was
Sure
like,
did.
Damn.
Sure did.
It looked awesome though.
Yeah, Daddy had some cash. Now listen, let me
Yeah,
finish.
Good for you.
Whatever.
But don't ever say I grew up overseas. How dare you? I grew up overseas.
Ever
Well,
tell-
so did my mom in England, but she didn't.
Did I ever
fucking-
tell you that I'm in Indonesia? I'm on an Earth Watch expedition, which means we had to go and study orangutan. I've told you about this,
Yes.
and had to rehabilitate them into
Yeah.
the wild. Blah blah blah. There's this scientist there who's so hot. I'm 20, maybe 19, and I'm a black belt. Just got my black belt, and I'm trying to show her. I'm trying to wheel kick. I'm trying to impress her in any way I can. And then she goes, "Where do you live?" And I say, "DC. I live in DC."
Oh, you told this story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, my dad pays for everything.
sister
He's
said
going to
that.
college.
Your sister
Oh.
ratted you out.
One time I was talking to this girl, this girl, I never forget this, on vacation again in Greece. And there's this beautiful girl who's swimming laps. She's French. I hear her speaking French. Daddy speaks a little French, as you know.
Well, don't call yourself daddy.
Call myself daddy. I wait till she's kind of taking a little rest. And
Here? Go ahead. Keep going, B.
and she's taking a little rest, and I go to look to her. I'm talking to her in French. I go, ça va? Ça va? Tu nages très bien. Ah oui, merci. And I hear, I look up, and my sister goes, cannonball! And just fucking cannonballs between us.
Real cock.
Splashes her. Sure, just disaster. Cock block supreme. My sister may as well call her cock block supreme. Couldn't wait to ruin
you
every
guys
chance
close,
I had.
though?
Sure are.
Super
sure
close.
are. Oh yeah, I love her. But and great sense of humor. But would go out of her way to ruin my.
Is she
my
older or
game.
younger?
She's younger.
Well, that's what they're there for.
Younger.
That's what they're there for. I told you my brother was dating this girl. I won't say her name. So I'll put it this way: for a while, Jay only liked dark meat. If
He
went to
only
KFC.
dated black women, right?
No, that's not true.
All right.
But if he went to KFC, he'd prefer dark meat and white meat. He didn't discriminate.
Equal opportunity employers. What you're saying?
Yeah, so in maybe high school, he might have been in middle school. I forget, but he was dating this girl, and she was so mean to me, man. But she wore lip gloss all the time. I went ahead and emptied out half that lip gloss. Went ahead and put a little of my pee-pee in there. So when Jay and her would making out, he was tasting that piss.
How's my piss?
And then I yelled from the top of the stairs because I knew he was going to beat the shit out of me. Hey, how's that pee-pee taste? And boy, did he get... And I ran out the door. I couldn't fucking stand that girl. She was so mean to me. That's the only thing I thought
Would he
to
have
do.
beaten your ass?
Oh, he beat me up so much.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
He's a big boy.
It's not even about being big. He's the older brother.
He's the older
He's
brother.
not a big boy. It's just he's your older brother. Brothers fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. The older one wins.
Uh-huh.
That's how it works
true.
in life.
He's got the mental advantage.
Well, not even that.
He'd
He's
break
just
you.
mean. No. He wouldn't break me, man. He'd whoop my ass. Yeah, there's no. It's not like fighting. There's
Well, he
no-
told me
there's
that
no
you,
real
for a
life.
long time, he told me you were skinny. He said you were not
Forever.
that big and you were
Yeah.
skinny.
But again, it's not about big. Like the way brothers work. I know you have a
Yes, you're
sister.
right.
The way
No, you're
brothers work, it's not about size, anything like that. The older brother beats up the
Yeah,
younger brother.
That's right. That's right.
When you're kids.
It's like
that's
when,
the way the world
have
works.
you ever seen on it's terrible to watch, but when they break an elephant, have you ever seen how they break an elephant in places like Thailand or India? So elephants are fierce. And even the Asian elephant, you cannot ride the African elephant, from what I understand. It has to be the Asian elephant. And they break them. They tie them up and they, I guess, break their spirit, essentially. There are ways to do that. It's awful to see. And the elephant's
Why
bellowing.
would you watch that?
I saw a video of it once
how
where they
long
were
does it
training
take?
the elephant, and and it was a baby, and they have to show the elephant that you're the boss. It sucks. But and you know what they do sometimes? That sometimes they go, oh, you know what? No, and they stomp you and pull you apart.
The elephant?
They'll stomp you until you're mush. This is fact. They'll stomp you till you're mush, and with their big long nose, they'll start pulling limbs off.
No. Elephant ripping limbs off?
Sir, 100%.
You saw a video of
Let me
this?
say it again.
You saw a video of this?
Yes, I did.
Are you lying right now?
No, I'm not. 100%.
Maybe a little bit. I've seen them stomp people.
You can see it on YouTube. They'll kick you across the room.
Yeah, I know
They'll kick
that.
you across the room, and they'll stomp on you.
Yeah, no. But you said pull your limbs off with their trunks.
Please hold. Then they'll wrap your arms or legs with their trunks and start yanking. And if you listen to people who talk about finding people after that, they go, it was like somebody put like them in a
like Mr. Potato Head.
Like the old, you know, the old fashioned things you used to make butter with. You put a body in there and just jam. That's what it looked like. I mean, they bash you to mush.
Jesus.
They are fierce. Do not fuck. Look, you can tame an elephant. You will never domesticate an elephant. Do you understand the difference?
I don't think anyone's like, oh, thank God Bryan said that. Because before I was gonna.
A lot of people wanted to
buy an elephant.
A lot of people couldn't understand why they couldn't domesticate their elephant. Why they can't have it live inside.
For
why can't my
God's
elephant live in my
sakes.
house? Well, that's why, everybody.
For all our listeners that are looking to tame an elephant, watch your steps.
There's a real ritual with people who own elephants, the mahouts in India and in Thailand. They clean them, they bathe them, they brush them, but they always in the back of their mind know, yes, that they could die.
Well, that's when people die when they're like the zookeeper or something like that. When they get a little too loosey goosey around the animals, they forget that they're animals. They're gonna do some wild shit. If you give them any fucking inch,
correct,
you're dead.
Do me a favor: when you have a tiger, don't fall around it.
They can't fall. Yeah,
Whoops.
you said that. Yeah.
Hey, that's why I never, when I bring my tigers out, I never do it on ice.
It's very strange that people want to own that shit. That's never crossed my mind. I've owned a bunch of animals, like you name it, normal animals. I've had them.
Normal.
But I've never been like, God, I'd love a tiger.
It's the feeling of danger. Like I'm the only one that can be around this tiger.
Or do you have a tiny dick?
No,
like
I don't
it's an
think that's
ego
what it is.
thing.
Nope, I think it's.
You don't think so?
Nope.
Like I got a tiger.
No, I think it's a form of intimacy. Like I'm the only one that can tame this beast, and I love, because people love. Sometimes they have such a deep
power over it.
They have a deep affection for their beauty and their mysticism and their danger, and they want to get close to it. And by getting close to it, like it's like always they have such profound respect and fear. It's like a mixture, right? And so the tiger, I can communicate with something that dangerous. I alone can be understood by something like that. I don't think they ever feel like they have power, because the trainers I've spoken to always know that it's very precarious.
You're talking about professional trainers. Yeah. We're two different angles here.
Yeah.
So there's professional trainers who it's a job, and then there's people like the guy in New York who had a tiger and an alligator. Yeah. There's guys like Mike Tyson had a tiger. Yeah. There's celebrities who have tigers.
Well, there's also
talking about two different things.
But also
here.
in Thailand, I think it's in Thailand, where they have all those tigers, and they have these volunteers. By the way, they're all American, and they're usually women. And they have these volunteers that go in and they feed the tigers.
You're fucking
and it's
crazy.
Like, they're on, you don't know those tigers. You go in there and feed them. You're around 4 or 5 tigers. And she even said, she goes, you got to be careful you don't fall. Well, and a woman was killed. And all tigers have different personalities.
Dude, I don't know what it is. Yesterday, speaking of falling, I'm pulling out of the gym, and obviously the guy kind of deserved it. He's a grown man on a razor. Ate shit on a razor going down the sidewalk. Just completely ate shit. He like rolled and popped up, and he was kind of laughing, so I was laughing. But then where was I? Oh, I was at a coffee shop. This old lady, just old too, ate shit so hard. It's hard not to laugh when someone falls. But when she was old, I was like, I wasn't laughing. I helped her up, grabbed her glasses. Her shoes fell off.
Do you know who laughs? Do you know who laughs so hard That is my wife.
Your wife,
At anybody
yes.
falling.
Yeah.
Even her dad. I fall.
There's nothing funnier than people falling.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. Anyway.
Chin just left the building.
He just quit.
He just quit. We are back from that beaker break. I call it the beaker break.
Call the beaker break.
The old beaker break.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow night we're celebrating your wife's birthday, aren't we?
That's right, buddy.
I was told Nobu at Malibu, and then you went, just playing. I'm making dinner at the house.
Yeah, having a chef come over. She'll be 39, and the bummer about that is that when she's 40, I have to leave.
You got
her.
to trade her in.
Well, because
it's like a lease.
Well, yeah, I can't. I mean, 40.
You don't want the old model.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, no, you want that new model.
Honey, listen, I love you. Thanks for the memories, but you're 40. It's disgusting.
Isn't it weird? Guys can do that, girls can't.
Well, I love my favorites when women goes, it's not fair with guys. You guys get better looking as you get older. I was like, really?
Depends on the guy.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it really depends on the guy.
It does. And
Let's
let's
do
be
some
honest, we
current
probably
events.
don't get better looking, but anyway.
Well, that's not
I've
true.
seen some handsome. Stevie and I were in Salt Lake City, and we're having breakfast next to these people who recognized me. And as we left, both of us went. Stevie went, that guy was a handsome older dude. And I went, I was thinking the same things, but the best looking. He was probably 55, 60, and had been an outdoorsman his whole life.
Yeah.
And just one of those guys. Just some dudes just look better when they're 60 than they did when they were 30. Just harder looking, kind of Clint Eastwood kind of thing.
Yeah.
Craggly faces.
Some guys age like wine.
Yep.
Some age like fruit. What do you got, Chin?
Well
Some current
said.
events, dog.
Let's do some current events.
All right, the first one is Meathead smacks the shit out of a judge after losing a bodybuilding competition.
What?
And,
Look, so see the big dude? You see that giant guy reaching out for a handshake? Watch this.
here we go.
Douche.
Dude, that's roid rage.
Well, no, I don't think you chalked up to roid rage. God damn it, B.
Why?
He's just a dumbass. He's
I know,
upset.
but I'm.
All of them would be doing it.
Oh, dude, was that an open hand strike?
Let me see it again.
That was
Chin.
a good shot.
Does he go to shake his hand? I think it's a punch. Is it a left hook?
That's a close
punch
fist
him.
right there, right in the chin. Down he goes, but he came back up.
Does he pop up and go to attack him?
He's coming back.
He's so upset because he lost. Is that in a high school gym? I'd be pissed too.
Now, I'm coming after muscles there.
What do you mean you're coming after?
Does that to me?
If you're that judge?
Yeah, I am.
And you would get slapped just like that right away.
No,
guy.
I wouldn't. You can go. You're going to make me mad if you say that. Like I'm going to get
But
mad.
you're not beating that guy up. You're not doing shit.
A musclehead? Yeah.
What happens if he's what if he's a black? We don't know anything about
And
this
he doesn't
guy,
know anything
tough
about me.
guy.
And he doesn't know
so
anything
let's
about
say
me.
he's a black belt in
I'm hitting him
Taekwondo
as hard
and
as I
wrestled
can.
in high school.
I'm hitting him as hard as I can. That's all I know. All I know
and
is
what
that
if he hits you as hard as he can?
all I know is that I'm coming after him. That's all you need to know.
You can't get punked. Yeah, you can't get
No,
punked.
you can't get punked. I'm coming after him. No matter who he is, especially because he's big and muscular. Right? If he's just some skinny guy, I'm like, oh well. If he's big and like that, I'm gonna have to come after him. Is he coming back to say sorry? Hold on.
So B, if he was skinny, you wouldn't come after him.
Yeah, in other words, like if he's big and strong like that, now I have to. Look, he's yelling at him still.
But if he's skinny, you're not going to do anything.
Yeah, maybe if he's skinny, I go, I'm not as threatened. But if he's really big like that, and now I'm
that's
threatened.
so weird to me.
Yeah, I'm
so
more apt to
weird,
fight you.
Because if it's a skinny guy and he slaps you, the act of slapping you is what you should be upset about.
Nope.
Not that the guy trains in a gym more than you do.
First of all, I'm probably going to come at you anyway.
That's the correct answer, sir. Otherwise, you're a complete pussy.
But I'm saying that if I'm in a car, this is so weird. But like if I'm in a car and you're yelling at me and you're pissed at me or something, you want to fight me. If you get out and you're probably my size or something, I'm going to be a little nervous. You might be a fighter or something. But if you're a really big guy and I'm afraid, I'm going to get out of the car. Does that make sense? My ego goes, oh no, I got it. Now tough guy. Now I can't get punked by a guy who's already bigger and stronger.
So if they're the same size as you and they're trained, you don't know, you're not going to get out of the car?
Probably less likely to get out of the car.
That's because you're obsessed with like size and stuff.
I feel insecure. So if you're going to tap into my insecurity and my ego now, I got to get out of the car.
I would never get out of the car for any reason. No. Unless they hit my child or...
for you. Lose for you.
I'm a grown man. Why would I fight you in the street over
It's all lose-lose, 100%.
But you should, if someone slaps you like that, I don't care what size they are, you should probably defend yourself.
You got to defend yourself, right?
Yeah.
Now, legally, if you get hit like that, you fall down and you come back and hit him. Is that what happens there?
I'm not sure. You're both getting arrested for fighting in public, correct?
Yeah, and he's got
is
some
it
legal trouble right
self-defense?
now, right?
If that guy wants to press charges, yeah.
Yeah, that's 100% assault.
Well, he's never going to bodybuild again. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how it works in bodybuilding, the commission or something like that, but I'm assuming you're banned for life.
These guys look like they're a little bit less. It doesn't look like a professional bodybuilding. They're not giant the way.
Those guys are jacked, brother. That camp. So it's a high school auditorium.
Okay.
And they're up top. Those guys are huge.
Are they as big as guys like Phil Heath, though? I don't know. That looks a little bit more like amateur, even though they're jacked.
Well, they could be going to get their pro card.
Yeah, that's
because
what
you
it
got to
looks
start
like.
somewhere.
Yeah,
those guys are fucking huge.
The guy on the right doesn't look as big as
that guy's.
He's
jacked,
back up,
sir. That guy's fucking jacked.
Yeah, you think is he taking steroids? Or?
I think right now he's having a complete meltdown.
Dude, he's fantastic.
He's pissed he didn't win.
He's yelling in a Speedo. And he's got a little number on his dick. How do you get taken seriously like that? That's fantastic.
Dude, how upset is he that he lost?
He's still not letting it go. No, sorry, still making his case.
I wonder what's going to happen to him. I'm sure someone.
If it was in Russia, nothing. If it's in the United States, he's fucked.
I think you're fucked anywhere.
I don't know.
That's definitely amateur.
Yeah, it's amateur.
They're going for the pro card. That guy's fucking jacked.
Yes,
I don't care who you are.
He's jacked.
All those guys.
But when you look at the pros and you look at their legs and like see that guy on the right, he's not nearly as jacked as the giant professionals.
So there's different categories, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So there's bodybuilding, there's figure, there's fitness. They're all different.
Yes.
We don't know what this is.
Right.
Yeah. So you can't.
So
say that.
bodybuilding is that's where you get
That's Phil Heath.
and, yeah.
But you're talking about the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
Giants.
Giants.
You're talking about the 1 and 2 guys in the world.
No, but when you look at all those guys, they're just as big as a human being can get, right? I mean, they're as shredded and as big, and those guys.
Phil Heath is
don't look like they're
5'8".
No, I'm just saying muscular wise.
Yeah, like
just,
thick.
Yeah.
You ever seen Ronnie Coleman?
Ridiculous.
6'4", 6'5",
So crazy.
like 300 plus pounds,
He's
shredded.
Gigante.
Then they have those HGH power guts. It's weird because they have abs.
It swells all your organs, right?
Yeah, because what people don't realize is HGH grows everything. Your head, your heart, your liver, everything.
Yeah.
I don't know if it grows your dick.
I don't
think so.
know that it does.
But if it grows everything,
I would imagine it would grow your dong. But then again, when I see them, their dongs look very average.
well, you're seeing them on
They're
stage.
also
It's
very
cold
big.
up there.
It's cold. They're scrunched into a Speedo.
Oh, you've never seen.
I'd be tying off. I'd be
sweetie.
tying off.
Oh, sweetie.
Kai
You've
Green?
never seen Kai Green.
I was gonna say Kai Green's.
You've
got a
never seen him
piece on
fuck that mango?
Nope. He's got a piece on him.
It's either a mango or water. Oh no, it was a cantaloupe.
And he's got a. Is he working with a?
I mean, might as well talk into the mic.
Really?
And it's this black.
Really?
Yeah. You've never seen that video?
No, but congratulations.
Yeah. Someday we'll have to bring it up for
I
you.
love Kai Green. He made me sad listening to him talk about growing up in institutions and stuff. Made me sad.
What else you got, Jen? I mean, yeah, for sure you can't slap the judges though. He's probably banned for life, yeah?
Again, it depends on what
I don't
it
know.
is.
I don't know how the sanctioned bodies in bodybuilding are.
Yeah, I don't either. Thief scampers down 48th Street with $1.6 million bucket of gold.
Hold on. Where did he get a bucket of gold?
I don't know,
Did he steal it from Scrooge McDuck?
I go so far as to say that's not stealing. If I see a bucket of gold,
This
I'm
is
running.
him stealing it, Chin?
Yeah. So he got it from behind a unattended Loomis truck. They were on a delivery for or pick.
Well,
or
for sure,
pickup
stay
for
on
another
the
place.
Stay on the gold,
This is it here?
This should be it. Yeah.
dude.
Or that's the dude.
How did he recognize it was gold?
I think it was just luck. But they said he was staking it out.
Oh, this is great. Look at him. This is good. Dude, what, could you wear like a hat or something? There are
But he
video
wasn't
cameras
expecting to
everywhere.
find a fucking bucket full of treasure.
That's a bucket full of
How heavy is
gold.
that?
Gold flakes.
probably-
86 pounds.
How much?
86 pounds.
God damn, that motherfucker. Sign him up for rugby
Yeah.
or some shit.
Yeah.
Worth 1.6 million.
And did they catch him?
6 million.
I didn't see that.
Well, you
Well,
can
if
see
you're
his
watching
face
this video,
clearly.
he's good. Well, he's going to get caught now. Yeah.
Don't look too conspicuous. I'm walking.
Dude, I want to know how he knew it was gold in there.
Look at him. Look at him. Excuse me. Bucket of gold coming through.
Here's the thing, though.
$1.6 million worth here with gold dust.
Now you got to hustle that gold dust.
Hey, who wants to buy some gold dust?
I want some gold. Yeah, how many gold bars? Bars would be nice.
You know
However,
what?
I have dust here.
That's so funny because it's like gold dust. I don't have any money. Here's the good news, though. I do have a satchel of gold dust for the pancakes.
And does he think it's 1840? I'll take 2 40s and the 12 pack.
Yeah.
Okay, $37. Here's a couple of gold flakes for you. Well,
Okay.
sir, I can't do anything with this.
Yeah.
Where the fuck is your cash or
The
credit
cops
card?
just have to be like, hey, dude, just if anybody's trying to sell gold dust, you might want to give me their
Hey,
name.
here's attention, everyone in New York City. If you find a guy trying to pay for any goods with gold flakes, report him. There's only one guy in the world.
It's so weird.
It's also how easy is it to catch. It's like you're trying to sell the only gold bat in the world.
So true.
Hey, if you see on eBay a gold bat, can you please report it? Now, if you're hustling cars like a
Yeah.
92 Civic, it's gonna
Yeah.
be tough to track you down.
It's tough to track.
Gold
down.
flakes. I'm not a detective.
Listen.
I'll hunt you down.
What you got to do is you got to add some water to that gold dust and form bricks, or
You got to melt it down.
Melt
yeah?
it down.
You got to melt it down.
Got to melt
Create
it down.
bricks.
Got to melt it down.
But now you're talking.
But you got to have a smelter to melt it. Isn't
Yeah.
that what they call it? You got to smelt the gold. I don't even know how.
But now you're talking like you're talking about the Italian job.
yeah,
You got now you got to hustle gold bricks.
you got to hustle gold bricks. That's difficult. You got to have ties to the underworld.
There you go. And now, does that guy look like he can run with the underworld?
However-
once you're in the underworld,
Yeah, but there are
You
guys.
in.
There are guys who sell cash for gold. Didn't your old manager?
my old owner of my management, Jeff Aronson, started Cash for Gold. He sold it.
Ooh,
But I went to his. He lived in this. You know that Bad Boys. You know in Bad Boys 2, the mansion. That was his crib. So
Jeez.
we'd go to it. I actually shot a video there, pretending it was my crib. It's pretty funny. But I was like, hey, dude, I want to see how Cash for Gold works. He brought me in. People would send in envelopes of like old gold chains and ring stuff. They would just clean them, dump them into this fucking cement bucket thing, or where the fuck it was, melt it, turn it into gold.
Seriously?
I'm like, well, it's like Scrooge McDuck.
so
it's
it
like
would be
DuckTales.
it'd be a gold bar then.
It would be tons of people's old jewelry.
How do
that
they
would
know
buy.
whether it was 14 karat, 18 karat?
They would just measure it.
24
But I
karat?
think when you put it together, it makes up the carat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you're talking massive amounts. It looked like a pawn shop of people's old jewelry.
Damn.
They clean it, scrub it, put in this device that would melt it down. They turn these blocks.
weird.
He'd hand me the block. I'm like, holy shit, man.
Yeah.
I've never seen a block.
I have.
before.
I went to a vault, a bank
stole all
vault,
of
and it
them.
was all gold, and it was so wild.
Isn't it cool to see?
So cool.
How cool would it be if we still use gold and rubies? and
Wars
shit to
were
pay for stuff?
fought over it.
Yeah,
right?
man. Wars. Wars used to be fought over sugar.
Yes.
Sugar used to be so tough to get.
Yep.
You used to fight over sugar.
And salt was a huge.
How weird is that?
Salt. Remember, salt was one of the most important. And what is salt? Salt's an actual stone. I mean, technically, it's a stone. Salt was so important because it was a preservative.
Yeah.
You could
Because there's no refrigerators or anything, so
Right.
with meat and
you could
preservatives
salt
and stuff.
fish
Yeah.
and essentially and dry it and send it.
I'm not a salt guy. I hate salt.
Yeah.
Isn't it weird?
You could pickle vegetables. That's where salt
Yeah.
came in. You could pickle vegetables like cabbage and stuff and survive through the winter.
Yeah, salt was a big deal.
Yeah.
It's weird, right?
Yep.
But I wish we could still pay in like rubies and diamonds and stuff.
I was in Turkey, of all places, Turkey, and I went to a place where they have the biggest emeralds and the most emeralds, I believe, in the world. So there's one area where you go,
We're talking like giant stones, like
yes,
gemstones.
emeralds, real emeralds, like the finest emeralds in the world and the biggest emerald in the world. It was in Turkey. I'll never forget it. Seeing that much gold and seeing emeralds like that is like, wow.
You're talking about like Aladdin style.
Yes.
Like I wish I could like swim through it.
That's right.
That'd be so cool to have a ruby. We should get some Fire Kid ruby necklaces.
Oh, ruby pigeon
all
blood.
gold?
They call them pigeon blood rubies, and that's when
blood
you get
diamonds. Talking about blood diamonds.
no, when you get
You're talking about blood diamonds.
no man, you get no. I'm
No,
saying,
no, you're talking about them blood diamonds.
No.
People lose arms and shit,
no,
man.
no, man. I'm talking about rubies, man. Come
Shout
on,
out to
pigeon
Kanye
blood.
West.
Talking about pigeon blood.
I mean,
Did they ever find anything
blood
else? Did
diamonds?
they ever find anything else about that Kim Kardashian getting
Dude,
tied up?
he's still no, but Kim, Kanye in a mental institute. He's in the hospital for going batshit crazy.
Here's my question, because you're
He's
good with.
still in there.
Here's my question, because you're a guy who knows a lot about marketing.
Yes,
Since he had to cancel his tour, I would imagine.
where he makes all his money.
Well, also, though, I would imagine that there are a lot of lawsuits that would come his way right? Because people have already paid money for promotion.
Nope. Contractually, I guarantee you, Kanye West lawyers have a stipulation there where if he has sickness, illness,
That's what I
and
mean.
he has
though.
no repercussions.
That's what I mean. But he had to. But,
It hurts his brand.
well, what I'm
for
saying
sure.
is that psychiatric illness would definitely be an out of that clause.
100%.
So
Yeah.
maybe
and they're going to refund all the people.
right.
But I think as far I think he's actually mentally
Having a
unstable.
breakdown?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And most people that are close to him say the same thing. And at first I was like, God, it might be a little bit of a marketing ploy. Like he just is over the tour. He's like, fuck it, I don't want to do this.
Right.
So he does this. But I was listening to someone speak yesterday on this matter who's an actual doctor. And they're like, no, when you're in the hospital, because he's supposed to be there 6 days. And I think this is his 9th day. There's some serious issues going on. And the Kardashians are quick to bring out a camera and fucking do all this stuff. They shut down all there's no cameras anymore.
Wow.
They're not.
Okay.
And Kim's been sleeping by his bedside. Like,
Okay.
when
It's
your
serious.
husband goes batshit crazy, let's leave the cameras at home.
You know, they were talking about, somebody sent me on Twitter, and I'm glad they did, a video, I think it was by Vox, on why Kanye is such an innovator in music. I know nothing about music. I know even less about rap. And they were explaining how he kind of took the rap form and turned it on its ear by using vocals and all the different kind of
Old school stuff,
innovation
too.
that he did. That when you watch that and you go, well, now I'm understanding why the guy had such respect among musicians.
But he's also you thinking like that way and outside the box. You're gonna be a little crazy.
Sure.
And then the Chin brought up a good thing here. Breakdown triggered by anniversary of his mother's death. So him and his mother, raised by his mother,
Really
Chicago,
close, huh?
and died. But you could chalk it up to his fame.
Sure.
Because if he wasn't famous, he'd never have the money for her to afford that plastic surgery.
Yes, and it was on the anniversary of his mother's death.
Yeah, scary stuff, man.
Yeah, man.
You got any other current events, Jen?
Because I got one that I wanted to talk about.
Oh, how about this? I mean, not that you give a shit about college football, but 2 CU Buffs facing charges after fight outside Boulder Bar following the win over Utah. Keep going up. So, So, homeboy, the receiver here, I think, does it say it? University of Colorado football players facing drug charges and assault. They're obviously out partying. So, the Abdul Awini, he's 23, arrested on suspicion of drug possession and 3rd-degree assault. They found like a bunch of packets of cocaine on him. But you know what? And this can sound fucked up, might be controversial. The reason why these boys are good is you got a couple wild cards on your team. You know what I'm saying? Like when Rick Neuheisel was there, when Barnett was there, you had some dudes who, like you need some gangsters. For lack of a better term, you need some dogs. You need some dogs.
Need some dogs.
Like Cody Hawkins came in and was like, no, we want all white guys and they have to have good grades. And the Big 12 and Pac-12 were like, huh? And shit all over us. And then the new guy came and said, listen, we're not fucking Harvard. Let's lower this, bring in the fucking athletes like we need to.
Dogs.
Recruit from Texas, California, Florida,
Yeah.
Colorado.
Yeah, they're gonna
bring
punch-
back what we're used to.
Might punch you in the face. You look at him wrong sometimes.
I see this. I go, you're fucking right. We're ranked number 6 in the world.
There you
You're
go.
fucking right.
There you go.
Yeah. I need a little bit.
I understand
of
that and I appreciate that.
You
whereas
need
whereas
that.
the Harvard soccer team has the men's soccer team has their entire season canceled because they sent around a memo about all the hot girls talking like guys. I guess I can't believe we're so offended and you guys don't get to play soccer anymore. Hey, thanks for ruining my whole season. Hey, Harvard, thanks for your equal rights stuff. You guys are really, you're really doing you're doing a great job about equaling the playing field. I'd fucking lose my mind. Here's a current event for you. I don't know if you know this, Brennan, but I told you about it. How about the Greenland shark? How about the Greenland shark gets up to about
That'd been
16?
a cool dropping knowledge because that's not a current event, is it?
Well, it is.
Well, it's not current if they lived that long.
Well, no, but it was just discovered.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I
just
thought that'd be a
discovered.
drop of knowledge.
No, could be. Could be.
Could be both.
Could be both. Greenland shark, 16-footer. Carbon dated the lenses on its eyes because they were like, this thing's old. Thing looks old. Looks just like a shark, by the way.
It looks like a shark out of fucking Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
You know those weird pirates
Yes.
that they turn into the skeletons?
Yeah.
When you look at this thing, it looks like it rides with those guys.
Right, it's like-
you show me a picture of him, I'm like, God, it looks, you can tell he's been around the block.
His nose is a little
He's
rounder.
been around the block, and when I say around the block, 400 times.
Yeah,
And by
yeah.
times, I mean once a year for 400 years,
They
right?
might, they think they may live up to 512 years.
God damn.
That's a shark. 512 years.
How hard are they to catch?
Well, they swim. They saw the one swimming on the surface, caught it. It was 16 feet. They grow a centimeter a year accordingly.
Caught him slipping.
They were like, they caught him
400
slipping.
years. He goes, motherfucker.
There it is.
400 years. No one's ever caught me.
That's
I
right.
take one fucking break to get a little sunlight, and here I am.
I've been around 4 centuries.
And now they cut my eye off
4 centuries.
to see how old I am, like an old tree.
I mean, but can you imagine living that? That's crazy.
He's
They
seen
just
some
don't
shit.
die. They don't die.
So that's him up there. That's
him right there.
So this isn't him. That's a basking shark. That's
nope,
him here.
that's him all the way around.
not him.
Yes, it is. They open their mouths that
Nope,
wide.
that's not him, brother.
Really?
I know my sharks. That's a basking shark.
Okay.
That's a Greenland shark.
But I think the Greenland shark may be able to open his mouth that way. But
Nope, definitely not.
I didn't know you were an expert on Greenland
I know my
sharks.
sharks. No, I know
Okay.
my sharks.
All right.
Well, I'm balls deep in sharks.
All right, I like it.
Yeah. You can click on that
Now
shark.
look at that thing. It's swimming in the surface right there. That's a big old Greenland shark. Well, it looks like a 400-year-old Greenland shark, buddy, with its mouth open like that. Either way.
Oh, we got
doesn't-
some video of his ass.
Let's
it's
watch
all
this.
good.
Let's watch this.
Well-
Doesn't much matter. The point is that thing's got some old looking skin, right? Now, there's a clam.
Why don't we
Apparently, it
steal
lives
the
about
blood?
500 years. A clam that just doesn't die.
See, that does nothing for me, though. A clam, yeah, of course they live. Like, if you tell me a sea urchin lives 500 years, I don't give a fuck. A giant shark?
A giant
swim in
shark.
the waters?
Yeah.
Look at his skin.
And by the way, that's a 400-year-old shark that you caught.
he looks every bit of 400.
Looks very much like a shark, though, right? Look at him.
Well, that's a shark, Brian.
Sure is.
But he looks weathered as.
The bowhead whale lives over 200 years, apparently. That's a bowhead whale. But that thing, 500 years.
Hey, scientists, for sure catch this old fuck.
And
Let's-
study him.
Well, let's go ahead and sell that blood and inject it in the humans, and maybe we live longer.
I was going to say, now here's the thing.
Doesn't sound like a
They
weird
think the
movie?
cold may have something to do with it. Now everybody's going to be doing cryotherapy. Take ice baths, you'll live longer.
Yeah, do ice baths. Don't do cryo. See, I don't believe in cryotherapy. I know me and Rogan don't see eye to eye on that, but
Well, because
ice baths are the way.
it's because you were an athlete, and in your opinion, having played sports for so long, ice baths are very helpful.
I never got anything from the cryogenic chamber.
That's
ever,
fair.
ever.
That's fair.
I did it for 2 years.
I'm gonna go with you.
Well,
That's why when I have
hey,
questions about nutrition or I have questions about exercise, I'll go to you because you've been doing it since you were 4th grade.
you can either go to me or you can ask the ice Greenland shark.
You can ask the Greenland
The
shark.
Greenland shark goes, huh? Well, I've been around about 400 years. So, I mean, if you want a few tips on living,
A couple tips.
here's a couple tips.
A couple tips.
A, hang out in cold water 24/7. Well, I can't do that, sir. Well, then you don't want to live to 400.
Yeah. God, isn't that crazy?
400.
It's crazy. I'm going to move around my body. My body still stays strong. I still got some flexibility in my spine.
Well, they have to move to breathe.
Listen, the bottom line is, you know what this means? Eat plankton, swim in ice cold water.
Bro, your new name
every
is
day.
the Greenland shark.
Greenland shark, dude.
That might be
Dude, I can't believe you said that.
Callan the Greenland
I don't
shark.
get old. I don't get old.
Well, you still get old. Because that Greenland shark looked like pure shit. Let's be real.
It does.
Looked like a turd you found in the toilet like 2 days later.
It looks like a turd with eyes.
Well, it looks like a turd with
With
eyes, but
fins.
that was like
My
someone
turd
blew
got
up your
fins.
bathroom and they come in, you're like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
It's like all like weathered already.
Yep.
Like the
Looks like-
water got
yep.
to it.
Yep.
The old water like wore it out.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I
The
do.
I'm talking about a log.
Looks like a log.
Looks like a log.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you got dropping knowledge. I'll tell you what, though, those boots look like a Greenland shark. Might have saw the first coming of those.
Well, I got.
What the fuck are those,
These were
sir?
expensive. I bought
Were
them
they
in Canada. And
in
they're not comfortable.
1917?
Yeah, I know. They look
Jesus.
like they look like I'm on a paper route. And I thought
I've
they
never
were
seen anything
cool.
like that.
Are they not cool?
I mean, I'm sure if
not
you're
comfortable.
I'm sure if you're fucking homeboy from Shawshank Redemption,
That's what I
the
look
guy
like.
that hung himself, the old man.
Get your papers here. Get your papers here.
No, I forget his name. You look like the old man that hung himself. That's what he hung himself in.
Oh, no.
He wrote his name and then hung himself from the
know.
top
They
in
look
those
like-
boots.
They're those old boots that you see, from the 20s. But I've been around since the 20s.
Some Schindler
I'm
List
very,
boots.
very old.
What's your dropping knowledge, old Greenland?
About anchoring. I'm starting to figure out
About what?
Donald Trump's. I'm starting to figure out about Donald Trump's methodology. So there's a psychological technique called anchoring, where when you just be very careful because when you negotiate, okay, a good way to do it, like if you are a lawyer, or you want to sell a car. What you want to do is if you're the seller, you want to anchor a number into somebody's brain right away. You want to hit them with a big number right away. If you're a good, and what'll happen is psychologically, that anchor will sit in your brain. They took experts on judges, and they rolled dice, and they said, if this person's been caught shoplifting, okay, and they had the dice rigged so that when they rolled it, the guys who rolled 9, it either would roll 9 or it would roll 5. And the ones that rolled 9 automatically, even though they had a lot of experience, gave the shoplifter 8 months. The ones that rolled 3, when they saw the number 3, they gave the shoplifter 5 months. And so over and over again, when they showed a bunch of realtors who are experts on housing, on pricing housing, they gave the realtor all the information on the house and they gave the realtors a price. The ones that saw the price stayed closer to the price, no matter, even though they said that it had no effect on them, it did. The ones that didn't have a price essentially didn't have anything to anchor to, and they were able to come up with their own number. So, do you understand what I'm saying by this?
Yeah,
so
a little bit, but real estate would matter on the area, the square footage, and being a real estate agent, now, you're gonna know that area.
Exactly. However, guess what? It didn't have an effect. When they were given a price, they stuck close to that price.
Well, that's
even
the market
with all
value.
those, it wasn't the market value. What I'm saying is that when they were anchored in a price, whether it was low or too high for the area, they were affected by that price psychologically.
So they didn't know any information. They saw the price.
They were given the price, and then they were given all the other, because they knew the area. They did know the area. Because they took into account all the different things. They were real realtors. The ones that were given the price of the house stayed closer to the price. The ones that were not given the price of the house, given all the same factors, came up with a very different number. And that's so when you negotiate, so if you're a lawyer for a defendant, what you want to do is you want to say, and you're, the defendant is suing for a lot of money. You want to anchor a very high price in the jury's mind. You want to say,
you can only go down.
Now, if you're
negotiating business 101.
And what you should do is if you want a much lower price, if it's ridiculous, you should make a scene, even walk out and say, I'm not even going to start negotiating with that number. We're going to anchor a different number.
Yeah, you're offended by it.
Yes. So the way you anchor, what you do as an anchor is, and so what Donald Trump is very good at is with the NAFTA agreement. What he'll do is he'll say, this is the worst agreement of all time in the history of agreements, which he says all the time. And what he's doing is he's anchoring you, going, well, if it's the worst of all time, we always know it's not the worst of all time, but it's got to be pretty bad if he's that extreme. So he's already got you on his side. So just be aware of how people can manipulate you, and everybody does it. Everybody does it. It's called anchoring, and so
it's called business 101.
It's called business 101, but a lot of people fall for it. A lot of people will fall for a number you give them right away, because what they'll do is they'll say, look,
this car is business always goes, make me an offer, and then they go from there.
There you go. Yeah. So just keep that in mind. Anchor your own number. Anchor, and know that whoever anchors a number is going to influence you. It's going to flow. So if you don't like the number, make a scene, walk out and say, I'm not going to even start talking about that number. I'm going to make my own number. And you will have an advantage so the first person that gives you a number is the one who has an anchor on it. You might think that's like not that news to people, but experiment after experiment actually shows that people fall for it all the time. All of us. When you suggest a certain number.
No, I got you, brother.
We always do.
Yeah.
So
you have some fan questions, Chin?
Yes, I do.
Bunch of questions about the new studio.
Fan questions. Do.
Alrighty. Strangers Call Me Jeff has a question.
Strangers call me Jeff.
Strangers call me Jeff. Well, your name's
has
Jeff.
this experience with
my
Fox?
college roommate's name was Jeff, but his dad called him Ted. It made no sense. I swear to God.
That's weird.
Yeah.
What do you got, Jen?
All right. Has this experience with Fox changing studios, ending Fox relationship, etc., giving you a different perspective on quote unquote Hollywood, or how Hollywood is ran from what you thought it was behind the scenes? Has it soured you on Hollywood?
No, I mean, this was a mutual agreement to go our separate ways. We've always planned on doing this. I don't think any of this is surprising, or it has nothing to do with Hollywood.
No.
It's just a matter of
business.
Two guys that own a business. Is just business. There's nothing Hollywood about it. If anything, it shows you how Hollywood's changing, where guys can own a show that has a loyal following and just kind of go do their own thing. Like, you don't need to be under some huge network logo now. You can still grow at a crazy rate just doing your own thing and investing in yourself. So I think it shows, if anything, that kind of entertainment's changing a little. You don't need that huge overhead of the suits and being under a brand like that.
Also, when people talk Hollywood after being here for 21 years and they say it's hard and all that, and Hollywood's also really honest in a lot of ways. I mean, Hollywood is cutthroat, it's marketplace. And if you're not able to gain that market share, if you're not able to actually produce something people want, you don't have a job. You don't make money. Nobody bails you out. It is as close to living in a capitalist society as you can get. I have to say, being an actor, being a comic, being a writer, being a director, even being a producer, you're basically, and people are you're relying on your own imagination and selling that imagination, putting it into form and selling it. If you can't do that, then you're going to have to get another kind of job.
But
right?
Would this show be like it doesn't change anything,
No.
right? Like there's no. This was all business. There's no
business.
hard feelings with Fox at all.
No.
Like I still love everyone over there. They're like, cool, man. If you're gonna do your own thing, go now, because we just, let's get this ball moving. I was like, all right, cool. There's no. There's nothing Hollywood about it. There wasn't. It was just like, hey, we think we deserve this, and we're like, well, we don't want to give that up. We think we can grow more on our own. We have better ideas, and we don't want to have to check off with you guys. So we're just going to do our own thing.
We've also been talking about this forever, as we said.
Yeah. It wasn't
from day
this
one.
isn't. This was always our plan.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Awesome. Rich Shaw Bears Rock is asking, what, if any, advice do you guys have on someone starting out as you guys did? Any regrets on the business decision? You both are successful and have multiple things going on, podcasts, merchandise, etc. Very inspiring.
Did he say, do we have any regrets business-wise? Yeah. I don't, man. Like, I was talking to my manager yesterday, and he goes, I listened to the show, and I know because of what your comments, Fox decided that you guys need to leave earlier, even though you guys were leaving in a month. And he goes, would you change anything? I go, no, because the reason why, and I explained this to my agent and manager, the reason why, one of the reasons why the show is at where it's at is because I've always been very upfront and honest with people what's going on, always. Whether it was the UFC, whether it's the Reebok deal, the reason why I retired, the reason why we're leaving Fox, what I don't like, what I do like, why I didn't want to be on UFC tonight, why I was doing this, why I was doing that. I've always been upfront. So when they ask me, you probably shouldn't say anything, I'm like, God, I just think you guys are wrong. Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? I have to leave early and get my own studio. There's no regrets there, man. There's literally no, out of any business decision, I don't have any regrets standing up against the shitty Reebok deal. I have no regrets saying anything ever, really.
Right. Me neither. At all. Whenever you're trying to get somewhere and move forward, it's going to be messier than it is neat a lot of times. You're going to have hiccups, but it's just part of the whole deal.
Yeah, no, I'm never afraid of work. Like, I knew when I got that call on Friday night, I was like, all right, well, I started looking at studios the week before because I thought I had a month, so I was going to take more time. But I was kind of already set. I looked at several studios and had one in mind, and I was like, cool, man, just going to have to grind for the next 4 days like a motherfucker to get this going. And our boy Mike Cazzatini was on the fucking, as far as getting everything transferred over, and that's the work, man. But when it's your baby, it's really not work. It's like, all right, this is what you have to do to get this done. Again,
shout out to Mike Cazzatini.
Really not that big of a risk. And obviously iTunes just got fixed yesterday, so we're up on iTunes now, and Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play's next, so we're fine, man.
Yeah.
Next one?
Yeah.
All right, Nicholas Gagnon. As you enter these uncharted waters, i.e., new studio minus Fox, what are you most excited about, and what do you feel is the biggest unknown?
B.
The biggest unknown? I mean, for me, it's always how do we keep this train funny and inspiring and fun. I only think about that. I don't think about anything else. I think about, and I always know that if I'm interested and I'm having fun and I'm laughing, then I'm doing my job. That's all I think about. How do I keep myself inspired? And how do I keep myself interested? That's if it's so interesting because it's the only thing you can do. If you try to do other things, then I don't know, it doesn't sustain. It's very difficult to sustain. I guess it's a little bit like, you ever see people who have friends who are strategic but they're not real friends? Like, I'm going to make friends with that guy because he can help me. I've never been able to do that. I can't sustain that friendship. It's maybe the similar thing. I have to go by
I
how
disagree
I
a
feel.
little on this. Like, obviously, number one is Bryan and I having fun and want to do the show. But the reason why we left, because we want to grow and we want to see how far we can take this thing. I could have told you exactly where the show would be at in 5 years if we stayed at Fox. And things would still have been good and it's all fine and dandy. But the reason we left is because we want to see how far we can take this.
Because more flexibility. Now we have a studio. We can go do a fight companion. We can do a lot of things we want. We can do extra podcasts if we want. You know, there's a lot of things we can do. It's here now.
And we're not sharing it with anyone.
No.
I can call Chin up like, hey man, I'm doing a Big Brown breakdown tomorrow at 4:00. Boom.
Yeah.
We're going. Before, hey, Fox, is it cool if we do this? Well, someone else is in there. Also, Evan's working on this. You can't do it. Like, all right. Hey, we want to do a fight campaign. We can't. The office is closed on the weekend, so you guys can't do that. All right. God damn it.
Yeah.
Well, I want to do these animations. All right. Well, we got to run it by legal and make sure there's no cussing. And also, we want 60%. All right. Well, fuck, man.
Dude, if I want to do a fetish video and I want Chin to shoot me from high up and I'm rolling
that
around
couch.
on this new, very clean, shiny beige rug,
We can
and
do
I'm
it.
naked and I'm a little fetish, I'm a little older fetish boy with bunny ears on, you can shoot that shit for me.
Oh, you're talking
'Cause
about
I'm
a
rubbing-
live video feed.
I'm talking about a live video. If I want to do a live
And
video
people
feed,
put donations. They
fucking charge a fortune.
Go ahead. Let me see that old grandfather clock set of balls.
Yeah.
Let me see that, and I'll give you $7.
Yeah, and if Brendan wants to be a little fisher boy, dressed up like a fisher boy, and he's got like a rod with a little
no, I
lasso,
got
and
it.
he lassos my nuts.
Yeah.
I caught some
No,
nuts.
I got it.
What?
I'm the fish, and you're that savage old Greenland shark. old.
And I'm a wiggling around, and Chin is shooting, and
old.
Chin for no reason is not wearing any pants. If we want to do that, and he's got a test
Only for donations, though.
Only for donations.
again-
if we want to do that and do a live video experience of what it's like to be a human Greenland shark eating a big old
Dick.
scrumptious seal, a scrumptious
see,
big brown seal.
Well, see, I was a big old scrumptious Greenland shark just choking on cock. We can do that. Like, I can say stuff like that. No one can stop
I
us
didn't
now.
say that.
Well, that's where you're going.
No, it wasn't.
No, you beat around the bush. I get straight to the point. If we want to film a Greenland shark sucking dick,
No, excuse me. I am trying to be metaphorical.
if I want to be a big old stingray with my dick up in the air, and a Greenland shark wants to go ahead and shuck this cock down.
No, I don't. What I want you to do is get on your tummy. I want you to bring your feet up over. I want you to arch your back, bring your feet up, and click your feet
Talking
together.
about
And I want you to go, Can you do a seal? Make a seal noise. Let me hear you.
And then the Greenland shark just come on from behind.
Just be an Arctic seal.
Well, no, but
Make an Arctic seal.
No, the plan
Let me hear
is
me.
the plan is you can do it.
No.
That's what we can do. Next question.
Chin, just get ready to shoot that. I'm saying if we want to do fetish,
The possibilities are endless.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the bottom line possibilities.
Don't try
endless.
don't try to hem us in.
Don't try to pigeonhole us into
Ain't nobody hemming us in, right, Brendan?
You think you can do a fucking Greenland shark porno at Fox?
Yeah,
Definitely
can't be hemmed. But you know what? This podcast should be called "Can't Be Fenced, Can't Be Hemmed In." No,
I don't like that.
can't be fenced, can't be hemmed in, can't be corralled, but you can lasso my nuts. Little
What
fisher
last
boy.
one, brother?
All right. Alexander Avalvarez, he's asking, have you guys ever thought about doing a Fighter and the Kid for the troops? I know plenty of us that love the Fighter and the Kid.
Hell
I'd
yes.
be down.
Hell
if
yes.
So, if everyone knows those connections and want to reach out, email or DM me, we can figure it out.
Yeah,
It is
100%.
just timing wise. That'd be the only thing timing wise with
Yeah.
our schedules.
Always
But
down
I'd
to do
always be
something for the
down to do
troops.
something for the troops.
100%,
That'd be dope.
and it's a good idea.
Well, brother, that's the end of our
first
our first
episode.
one in our new studio.
Yeah.
And like you said, any good LA artists who are good at like big what would you call it?
Mural.
A
mural.
A big mural, and you can paint and get it done fairly fast.
Yep.
We'll hire you. DM me on Instagram or on Twitter, and we'll set something up. Again, we're looking for like a Venice theme colorful wall to the right here, and then to my left, like a Abbott Kenny kind of scene, maybe a beach. We can do something cool.
Yeah.
I'm up for ideas too.
Be amazing.
But if you guys are good at it, holler at your boy. This Sunday night, Bryan and I are doing stand-up. It's not Firing the Kid live. We're doing separate stand-up gigs at the Comedy Store, 8 p.m. with Chris D'Elia. A bunch of other guys are there. And then tickets are on sale right now for the Pacific Northwest Tour. We're in Seattle, Portland, Vancouver, and those tickets are flying off the shelves like a Greenland shark in Iceland.
And December 8th,
TFATK.com for all those Pacific West Coast tickets, son.
And at TFATK.com, you can also get a ticket link to my show in Fort Lauderdale this next weekend, December 8, December 9, December 10, December. Yeah, that's it. 8, 9, 10.
I'm at the Laugh Factory Tuesday night. So, you guys can't miss this, really. We're all over the place. Can't miss this. New Abbott Kenny sweatshirts and Firing the Kid hoodies are dropping, and then the original Abbott Kenny Fight Club tees are dropping as well. And then the Firing the Kid Army, Do You Really Want to Bet Against Us tees are also dropping this month. So December's big. On Instagram, Firing the Kid, all that. You guys, you'll see the announcements on there. Chin, Agent A, welcome to the squad. This is the first one of many. We got a lot of work to do, long ways to go, but God damn it, we're moving.
That's right.
TFATK.com for everything. SoundCloud, Stitcher will be coming up soon with our boy Mike Hazatini. iTunes is rolling now. Download that shit. YouTube, the new animation's on there as well. The official Firing the Kid YouTube. I think this is it.
That's it.
This is the Firing the Kid from our brand new studio. Do you really want to bet against us? We're out.